Imagine this. In a world where arrogance meets its match, a smug billionaire whispers a cruel insult in Arabic to a black waitress, thinking she's clueless, only for her to fire back fluently, flipping his world upside down in seconds. If you're in the USA or UK craving stories of epic comeuppance, empowerment, and jaw-dropping twists that expose the elite's hypocrisy, hit that subscribe button now for more riveting tales delivered straight to your feed. Don't miss out. Your next obsession starts here. In the glittering heart of New York City's Upper East Side, where skyscrapers pierce the clouds like arrogant fingers pointing to the heavens, stood the opulent Le Chateau d'Or, a restaurant so exclusive that its waiting list stretched longer than the lines at a Black Friday sale in Walmart. It was here, on a crisp autumn evening in 2025, that billionaire tech mogul Alexander Voss, a man whose net worth rivaled the GDP of small nations, decided to dine. Voss, with his perfectly coiffed silver hair, tailored Armani suit that cost more than most people's annual salaries, and a smirk that could curdle milk, was known in boardrooms and tabloids alike as the king of Silicon Valley East. Born into old money but amplified by his ruthless ventures in AI and data mining, he had built an empire on the backs of underpaid coders and exploited algorithms. But tonight, he wasn't here for business. He was here to impress his latest arm candy, a vapid influencer named Tatiana, whose Instagram followers outnumbered the stars in the sky. As they were seated at the prime window table overlooking Central Park, Voss scanned the room with the disdain of a lion surveying hyenas. His eyes landed on the waitress approaching their table, a striking black woman named Aisha Thompson, with skin like polished ebony, eyes that sparkled with quiet intelligence, and a uniform that did little to hide her graceful poise. Aisha had been working at Le Chateau d'Or for 2 years, juggling shifts between this high-end gig and her night classes at NYU, where she studied linguistics and international relations. Little did Voss know, her life story was a tapestry woven from threads of resilience. Born in Harlem to a single mother who emigrated from Nigeria, Aisha had taught herself multiple languages through sheer determination, including Arabic from online courses and immersion apps, dreaming of one day working for the UN. Voss, ever the xenophobe wrapped in a veneer of cosmopolitanism, leaned back in his chair as Aisha presented the menu. "What a diverse staff they have here," he muttered to Tatiana in English, loud enough for Aisha to hear but feigning subtlety. Then, switching to Arabic, a language he had picked up during oil deals in the Middle East, he added with a chuckle, "This one looks like she belongs in the kitchen scrubbing pots, not serving kings like me. What a joke. A black girl thinking she can play in our world." Tatiana giggled obliviously, sipping her champagne, unaware of the linguistic barb. Aisha, however, froze for a split second, her tray balanced perfectly as if nothing had happened. But inside, a fire ignited. She had heard every word, her fluency in Arabic honed from years of studying dialects from Levantine to modern standard. With a serene smile that masked the storm brewing, she responded fluently in Arabic, her voice smooth as silk. "And you, sir, look like a man who compensates for his small heart with a large wallet. But even kings fall when they underestimate their subjects." Voss's face drained of color, his fork clattering to the plate. Tatiana looked confused, asking, "What did she say? Was that Arabic?" Voss stammered, trying to recover, but Aisha wasn't done. Switching back to English, she added, "Your specials tonight include the foie gras with truffle reduction. Or perhaps you prefer something humbler to match your manners?" The restaurant hummed with the usual clatter of silverware and murmured conversations. But in that moment, the air around Voss's table thickened with tension. He glared at Aisha, his ego bruised like an overripe peach. "How dare you?" he hissed in English, his Arabic accent now seeming clumsy in retrospect. "Do you know who I am? I could buy this place and fire you on the spot." Aisha, unflinching, replied, "I know exactly who you are, Mr. Voss. Your face is plastered on every billboard from Times Square to Trafalgar Square. But respect isn't bought. It's earned. Would you like to order? Or shall I fetch the manager to discuss your cultural insights?" Tatiana, sensing the shift, fidgeted with her napkin, her perfect makeup unable to hide her discomfort. Voss, not one to back down easily, decided to escalate. He pulled out his phone, dialing his assistant with a dramatic flair. "Get me the owner of Le Chateau d'Or. Now." As he waited, Aisha calmly took Tatiana's order. A light salad, no dressing, before gliding away to the kitchen, her head held high. In the back, her co-workers whispered excitedly. Word of Voss's rudeness had spread like wildfire through the staff chat. Chef Marco, a burly Italian with a heart of gold, patted her on the back. "You tell him, ragazza. These rich pricks think they own the world." But Aisha's mind was racing. This wasn't just about a rude customer. It was about every time she'd been underestimated, every microaggression in her climb from Harlem streets to this gilded cage. Meanwhile, Voss's call connected. The owner, a shrewd Frenchman named Pierre Duval, listened intently. "Alexander, mon ami, what seems to be the problem?" Voss ranted about the insolent waitress, demanding her immediate dismissal. Pierre, however, knew Aisha well. She was his best employee, multilingual and beloved by patrons. "I'll handle it," he assured Voss, but his tone hid a plan. Pierre had his own beef with Voss. Years ago, Voss's company had poached his top sommelier with underhanded tactics. This was payback time. He instructed the manager to comp Voss's meal, but to accidentally spill the details to a gossip columnist dining nearby. As Aisha returned with appetizers, Voss smirked triumphantly. "You'll be out on the street by dessert," he sneered. But Aisha, with a knowing glint, said, "Streets I've walked before, sir. They build character, something money can't buy." The evening progressed, with Voss growing increasingly agitated. Tatiana tried to lighten the mood, chattering about her latest sponsorship deal, but Voss's mind was elsewhere. He didn't know it yet, but Aisha's retort had set off a chain reaction. By the time dessert arrived, a decadent chocolate lava cake that Voss poked at disinterestedly, the gossip had spread. The columnist, a sharp-eyed woman from page 6, overheard snippets and texted her editor. Within minutes, the story hit social media. Billionaire Alexander Voss mocks black waitress in Arabic, gets owned when she replies fluently. Hashtags like #WaitressWins and #VossExposed trended on X, formerly Twitter, amplified by users in the USA and UK where Voss's scandals were tabloid fodder. In London, where Voss owned a penthouse, morning shows buzzed with the clip someone had secretly recorded on their phone. Back at the table, Voss's phone exploded with notifications. His PR team called in panic mode. "Sir, this is going viral. We need damage control." Tatiana, checking her feed, gasped, "Alex, this is bad. My followers are unfollowing me." Voss turned beet red, glaring at Aisha as she cleared plates. "You did this," he accused. She smiled innocently. "I just served dinner, sir." Words have a way of echoing. As the night wore on, the twists began to unfold like layers of an onion, each more pungent than the last. Unbeknownst to Voss, Aisha wasn't just a waitress. She was an undercover journalist for an independent outlet, investigating workplace discrimination in high-end establishments. Her fluency in Arabic, part of her toolkit for exposing bigots who hid behind foreign tongues. She had been tipped off about Voss's visit and wore a hidden mic, capturing the entire exchange. By midnight, the audio leaked online, courtesy of her editor. Voss's empire trembled. Stock prices for his company, Vostech, dipped 5% overnight as investors in Wall Street and the City of London balked at the PR nightmare. Board members convened emergency calls, questioning his leadership. Tatiana, seeing the writing on the wall, slipped out early, posting a cryptic story about toxic vibes before blocking him. But the story deepened. Flashback to Aisha's childhood. Growing up in a cramped apartment, her mother working double shifts as a nurse, instilling in her the value of education and empathy. Aisha's father, a Somali immigrant who spoke Arabic fluently, had died young, leaving her with tapes of his stories that she listened to obsessively. Those tapes sparked her linguistic passion. In college, she majored in Arabic and African studies, interning at NGOs where she witnessed the arrogance of Western businessmen like Voss in the Middle East. One such trip to Dubai had her overhearing similar insults, fueling her resolve to fight back. Now, at 28, she balanced waitressing with freelance writing, her big break coming tonight. Voss, meanwhile, retreated to his limo, barking orders to his lawyers. Sue her for defamation, but the audio was ironclad, and public opinion swung hard against him. In the UK, where his company had a subsidiary, MPs called for investigations into his discriminatory practices. A twist. Voss's own ancestry traced back to Middle Eastern roots. His grandfather was Lebanese, a fact he buried to fit into WASP circles. The irony stung as commenters dug it up. By morning, Aisha woke to her phone buzzing. Offers from CNN, BBC, even Oprah's network. She declined most, focusing on her article, The Language of Power, How One Word Can Topple Empires. Yet the plot twisted further. Voss, in desperation, dug into Aisha's background, hiring a PI. What he found shocked him. Aisha was no ordinary waitress. She was the daughter of a woman his company had indirectly harmed. Years ago, Vosteka's data breach exposed patient records at her mother's hospital, leading to identity theft that bankrupted the family temporarily. Aisha's mother had sued but settled out of court. This revelation hit Voss like a freight train. Was this revenge? He confronted her the next day, showing up at the restaurant unannounced. You planned this, he accused. Aisha, calm as ever, replied in Arabic first. Fate has a funny way of circling back. Then in English, no plan, just justice. Your words were your undoing. As days turned to weeks, the scandal evolved. Voss's board ousted him, installing a diverse CEO. He fled to his yacht in the Mediterranean, but even there, the story followed. Aisha, propelled to fame, quit waitressing to write full-time, her book deal worth millions. But a final twist. In a moment of reflection, Voss reached out anonymously, donating to her charity for linguistic education in underserved communities. Was it genuine remorse or PR? Aisha never knew, but she used the funds to build schools in Harlem and Nigeria. The narrative expanded with subplots. Tatiana's fallout, where she reinvented herself as an advocate against elitism, gaining more followers. Chef Marco started a union at the restaurant, inspired by Aisha. Pierre Duval profited from the publicity, turning Le Chateau d'Or into a hotspot for empowerment dinners. In the USA, protests against corporate racism surged. In the UK, similar movements echoed. Aisha's story became a symbol, taught in classrooms, debated on podcasts. Delving deeper, let's explore Voss's backstory. Born in 1965 to a wealthy family in Connecticut, Alexander Voss was the golden child, attending Yale where he majored in computer science. His first startup in the 90s revolutionized data analytics, but at the cost of privacy invasions that drew early lawsuits. He married young, divorced thrice, each ex taking a chunk of his fortune but signing NDAs. His Arabic came from a stint in Saudi Arabia, negotiating deals with sheiks while privately mocking their culture. This hypocrisy defined him, public philanthropist, private bigot. Aisha's journey paralleled but contrasted. At 10, she won a spelling bee in multiple languages. At 16, she volunteered at refugee centers, translating for Arabic speakers. Her NYU thesis on linguistic imperialism won awards. The night with Voss wasn't her first rodeo. She'd shut down rude patrons before, but never one so prominent. As the story unfolded globally, twists multiplied. A hacker group inspired by the leak targeted Vostek, exposing more scandals. Wage gaps, harassment claims. Voss sued, but lost. In a dramatic turn, he had a heart attack from stress, surviving to pen a memoir admitting faults, ghostwritten of course. Aisha reviewed it harshly in the New York Times, calling it a billionaire's apology tour. Years later, in 2030, Aisha ran for Congress, her platform on equality drawing from that fateful night. Voss, retired, watched from afar. A changed man? Perhaps. Their paths crossed at a UN event. He approached, speaking Arabic, You were right, she replied. It's never too late to learn. But wait, there's more layers. Tatiana, post-breakup, started a podcast interviewing service workers, featuring Aisha as guest one. It went viral, spawning a Netflix series. Pierre sold the restaurant chain, retiring rich. Chef Marco opened his own spot, naming a dish Aisha's Revenge, spicy Arabic fusion. In the UK, Voss's London property was picketed. He sold it at a loss. Media there dubbed him the Fallen King. Aisha visited London for book tours, inspiring Black British youth. The narrative wove in real-world parallels, echoes of real billionaires' gaffes, like Musk's tweets or Bezos's divorces. But fictionalized, it amplified drama, expanding on twists. What if Voss had a secret child from a Middle Eastern affair? Who contacted Aisha? Or Aisha discovered Voss funded her scholarship unknowingly. These added depth. The story continued with Aisha's rise. TED Talks, awards, a family of her own. Voss's fall, bankruptcy scares, therapy. Ultimately, redemption arcs intertwined, showing humanity's complexity.